They haven't really practiced it, so let's see how it goes. You should have the luck of the Irish. You'd be sorry and wish you were dead. You should have the luck of the Irish, and you'd wish you had the Ramblecast instead. 1,000 years of Jack's old Joe drove mad, crazy and mad. But Chris and Nick, they just drank like the good old Irish lads. You should have the luck of the Irish. You'd be sorry and wish you were dead. You should have the luck of the Irish, and you'd wish you had the Ramblecast instead. I knew Matt would know that one.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, Nick,
best one yet.
I wanted to hear that song today, so I'm hearing it from you for the first time for today. That's awesome.
Even though you're going crazy?
Because of you, Jack.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Hope you guys are all getting your Irish on today in whatever way you see possible.
Top of the morning.
It's like the Irish say on St. Patrick's Day, everyone is Irish except the English.
The English.
So yeah, actually, I've St. Patrick's Day is a I love St. Patrick's Day for a number of reasons. Obviously, some of my heritage as well, but it also marks the 6th year today since my wife had her surgery to save her life. Yeah, so she had her surgery on St. Patty's Day, so it's always a nice little celebration. And my buddy Dave, you guys know Dave. I think some of people listening might even know Dave. He's actually upstairs right now, hanging out with us tonight, having a few.
That's the guy that beat up the field guy?
No. Dave's my buddy who's in Indiana Jones.
Oh, the stuntman.
And the stuntman guy. Yeah, he's upstairs having a couple of drinks with us. But because he was actually...
He made fun of Matt, right, for being...
Oh, that was me.
White.
I don't know. Oh, yes, he did. Yeah, he did.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a long time ago.
I wasn't on that show.
That was you.
No, I wasn't on that show.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyways, he was hanging out with us because he actually was here 6 years ago. It was actually the day after we beat the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. And
no, wait, time out. That's when the Seattle Seahawks beat themselves in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
Anyways, he was with us when we got the call, and it was St. Patrick's Day. I remember it was a blizzard. No, I'm sorry. That's not true. He was with us when we got the call the day after the Super Bowl. So he's kind of been with us the entire, he was with us throughout the entire journey. My wife's going through her surgeries and everything. And he was also there, obviously, on the day of the surgery, which is St. Patty's Day. So he and my buddy Tom took me out for a bunch of beers while my wife was in surgery. I don't know how appropriate that might sound, but it made sense because it was St. Patrick's Day and I was in Boston, and it was literally 2 doors down from the hospital was the Irish pub. So it's like a tradition. We get together every year ever since, and
nice.
Have a few. So yeah, it's a good day. It's a really good day.
What about your love child?
That's what I was thinking too.
That's fun. Okay, so let's give a quick little update from last week. So I told a nice heartwarming story that you guys all I shouldn't have expected anything less than what occurred.
When have we ever had a chance to tell our stories?
No, absolutely. Because if it was Matt telling the story, it would have been the same fucking thing coming from me. So I appreciate respect.
It literally was.
Yeah, I appreciate and respect the shit that you all collectively had given me. Because at the end of the day, it was pretty funny. But fast forward. So Bettina was listening. Mm-hmm. She was listening to the show last week, and she recalled the stories just as how I told them. And we've had a little update from those who didn't listen last week. The short version is I reconnected with one of the closest friends I had when I was 16 years old, 17 years old. that I haven't talked to in 20 something years.
Reconnection, and it feels so good.
Yeah, so good. It really is. So we've reconnected. We've gone back and forth on Instagram chats as well as in emails. And she did send me an email the other day. I have not responded, so I don't know if you're listening this week, but I will get back to you, I promise. But it has just been such a great reconnection, and it's almost like if we hit pause on our conversation back in 1998, 97, whenever it was, and just hit play, and it's been that great. So it's everything I could have hoped a reconnection could be, for sure.
That's it. That's it.
What are you looking for, Nick?
I thought that was the intro. Like Jack's talking about the love child, and you're like, speaking of the story.
I didn't want to say it, but I thought there'd be more too.
Yeah, I did too. I thought like
that was kind of like a big deal.
I'm expecting like her to be like, so I listened to the episode. Very good, very funny.
She actually made fun of you guys a little bit after the fact too. Yeah. But
well, if you don't say it to my face, it doesn't mean anything.
We'll have to get her on sometime that she can tell her side. But no, it's been awesome. It's one of those situations where I had no idea what was going to happen, but it's just a true testament to that whole. If you're thinking about somebody, or if you have something come across your mind, take an extra second. In this case, take many extra seconds and make the step of reaching out and saying hello to somebody, because it could. It could mean the world to somebody else.
I'm just thinking of Jack thinking about
me
Kathy
you're
Ireland.
For? Yeah, I've reached out to her. She's just ignored me.
I'm assuming as much.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Kathy Ireland.
Yeah, Kathy.
I was just thinking, like you were saying, like if you're taking those moments to think about someone,
Twitter, but
she's not following you back.
No.
If you follow us on Instagram, I did share this photo that was kind of like a visual pun of our names. Someone thought that I was saying that they take up too much of the show. That's not what I was meaning by it. But I thought you'd like the fact that it was Christmas in Boston.
I didn't get the Christmas reference. Are you referencing because the fact that I posted about it snowing?
No, your name, you go by Chris in Boston, and the closest I could get to that is Christmas in Boston.
Can I say something? Sherry pointed out that I was wrong. And like she said, first time ever.
Join the club, Sherry.
It was Jay he was making fun of.
Oh. Okay.
And now I do remember it. It was
what was
Jay. That he was when he was making fun of someone being pasty white, it was Jay.
I knew that it was.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yes,
yeah.
That was Jay.
That was before my time.
We know, Matt, because the show was good back then.
It was probably a lot better back then. So, and at least talked a lot more about toys. So,
yeah, Fisher Protocol he's right on that. The power of the 25th anniversary SI issue cannot.
Oh my goodness, that SI issue is fantastic.
I have it's where she's wearing a yellow bikini, I believe, if I remember correctly.
I think it's green.
It's green. I thought it was yellow.
I can't respond in the chat. It pisses me off.
Well,
I could be wrong, but I thought it was yellow.
If there's only a machine that we could all look this up and make sure everybody's wrong about. I don't want to be
wrong twice in one night.
Before we get to our versus results, I wanted to say that the craziest thing happened to me a week ago. We record on Wednesday nights.
We had a versus.
We did. We're just calling it. We're calling it now.
Shit.
So,
just spilled my beer.
Oh, well, there goes your lucky charm.
Magically delicious.
You only had one beer for the night, and that's it. Your wife's not going to allow you to have another one.
I want to know where it goes at.
I had the weirdest dream last week ago. After our show, it was so intense. It was one of those.
I met a girl. She was forever in blue jeans.
No, it had nothing to do
Was it
with
about Chris's friend?
No, I was in this garage, and I was conducting this experiment with light bulbs, lining them up in some way that created like this fusion reactor, and it created this like energy machine. And before it got like kind of overwhelmed, I like knocked one of the light bulbs off to break the circuit. And as it fell to the ground, it was like full of like this force field that just kind of ate away at the cement. I go out into the backyard. I'm at my cousin's house in Ohio. And there in the sky, it's at night, I can see these
Birds with
UFOs.
lights?
No, there's like these UFOs in the sky, but I could see how they, like the mechanism of how they basically disguised themselves to us. It was kind of like this emanating, kind of like almost like this blur effect that was happening in the sky that like kind of blurred them out. And as I'm looking at them, it's like they realize I'm noticing them. And they put this beam of light down on my hand and it's tracking me. And I'm looking at this beam of light. Okay, follow me on this. And as I'm staring at this beam of light on my hand, I wake up to a beam of light in the room. And it's the light on
From
our
the dead
fan.
people next door.
No, it's the light on our fan. So we have this.
Wait, light on your fan.
Yeah, so we have this fan in our room, and there's this purple light, this on light from it. And as I wake up, I'm staring at that light. Like I'm staring right into that blue light. And it was like I didn't open my eyes at all. It was almost like I just kind of came to staring at
mind's
that.
eye.
So it was really crazy.
And that's when you realized how time travel is possible.
I think I was given some Elon Musk blueprints. Like maybe he was supposed to get these and I got them instead. So
When's your stock going?
I should have eaten this prior to your story.
I don't know if it would help. It was a very intense dream where you just kind of feel like you're being chased, and then waking up to seeing that beam of light. So, crazy dream for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
That was last week, so I'm hoping not to be abducted this week. So I don't know. It's very strange. So I don't usually have UFO dreams, but I actually drew out kind of what it looked like because I was just kind of the next morning, I was still kind of thinking about it in my head, like how it worked or how it functioned. So
you going to show us the drawing, or
I don't actually have the drawing with me. It's upstairs.
Jeez.
I can get it here in a little bit. So an hour 2, the bonus hour. I don't know what Jack and Nick are doing. I assume
Fisher
researching.
Protocols wanted to point the fact out that shrooms are now legal in the District of Columbia. So you could go.
That explains a lot of our politicians we got going.
Enact your dreams.
I was going to say, like, taxation without representation, huh?
Have you guys ever had shrooms before?
Tons of times.
Yeah?
I have not.
No.
Back in the day.
The worst, not the worst. Well, the strongest I had was in 2003. I was in Bonnaroo, and the guy I bought them from was from Hawaii, and he gave them to me, and they were, I'm sure they had something on them. I have no idea, but they were orange instead of the usual white and purple. And he's like, these are really strong. He goes, I don't recommend eating like what you normally eat with these. Of course, I was 22. I didn't give a shit. So I just like, and I don't know what happened. I don't remember a lot. I just woke up on top of someone's truck the next morning, and it was a good time.
Yes. I did them once in, I think it was like in high school. I think it was high school. Yeah, it was definitely high school. It was like, remember, it was like the graduation party week. You know, like when everyone's having their graduation parties, and it's like you party hop and go to different houses and stuff. I did them once, and man, what a fucking experience that is. Like,
Yeah.
that's you can't describe it. It's well, you certainly can, but you can describe it, but it won't make sense to anybody. But it is something that's incredible, and I'm really interested to see how more and more states are entertaining the idea of microdosing psilocybin, which is the key, chemical that causes a reaction for you to have that out of body experience in mushrooms. Like psilocybin is being utilized as from a microdosing perspective as a way to treat anxiety, depression, and a number of things. And its early reports are saying it's like super fucking effective.
I can see, I can see that
microdosing right now, and it's working great.
I can see that from a microdosing if you're taking it in very limited capacity. But like, I had anxiety, and I had to go see someone to help me fix it. But because mushrooms is usually, depending on how much you take, is usually a good half hour of straight paranoia, followed by 2-3 hours of bliss. And so, like, it's that first half hour, though, where you're just like, what the ick is going on?
Dude. So you remember slush puppies? You get a slush puppy. It was like a brand of like, you go to like the convenience store, and it was like you get the slush. It was like an icy. There was icy, and then there was slush puppy.
I had one last night in a dream. It turned out to be my fan.
So, I remember having a slush puppy and having the dog fucking talk shit to me from the cup. I was just like, okay. And I remember I actually got.
You must
to
have
a
had
point,
the pina colada.
Yeah, I got to a point where that paranoia definitely did settle in, Nick. And it took me to ripping shots of whiskey to get myself to like throw up.
Huh.
And when I threw up, I felt like a fucking $1 million.
Did you throw up on the dog?
Probably, yeah.
If you're gonna spew into
this, man.
Just imagining like a little.
No, but like with the back to the microdosing thing, real quick. I mean, it's not necessarily in a sense being used to make you have like the same out of body experience that you have when you eat like an eighth of shrooms. Right. It's actually meant to trigger specific passageways in your brain to kind of like unlock and relieve certain areas of stress. And it's fascinating. I love seeing all this things that were deemed as like taboo and quite frankly like a sin back when we were kids are now being utilized for legitimate purposes. So it's actually kind of cool. Hell yeah, modern medicine.
I remember though, because just like loving the 60s and reading about a lot of the artists and things like that. I remember though being at a concert one time on shrooms that were really potent. And that was the first time, people always talk about like, I saw God. I remember the first time going like, this is what it's like. This had to be what that person was talking about in this moment. Because it's just weird when all of a sudden just every molecule in your body is just buzzing, and like everything around you just, because like you're getting this huge euphoria around you. If it's like,
your senses are amplified, like every one of your senses. Yeah.
And you're locked into every single thing. I mean, drugs, I never say like people should do drugs, but if you do them, you should do them for the right reasons. Like, why are you trying to do this? And it's like Chris just said, it unlocks parts of your brain. Sometimes people go overboard because you get into like Sid Barrett type parts, where you just do too much acid and then it fries your brain. But it does. It just opens up, knocks the spider webs out. Or whatever you want to call it, the cobwebs out of your brain, and it does it unlocks rooms. Matt right now with his dream, he was dropping a little acid.
I have not dropped acid. I've never dropped acid. And the times
you
that
use
I did,
you don't want to drop it, right?
The times that I did do shrooms a long time ago, it was something that like the first time I did it, similar to weed, it didn't really hit me. It was actually like the third time where it was just like, holy cow. And I think it was during the middle of winter and there had been an ice storm. And I remember going on a walk.
A hazy shade of winter.
Looking at the ice on just that was like around a tree, or laughing at this cat. This cat was just like looking at me.
The cat got the last guy's revenge.
Just
was it just the teeth? Was it just the teeth that kind of disappeared? Was it pink and purple stripe?
I think it was the fact that it was just so random, and it was my own thoughts that were kind of setting me off. And so, I mean, the mind can definitely play tricks on you.
Maybe that's what was in Drake's Brownie. I don't know.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, so
I've never felt like that. I've never felt like that.
3-hour shower. I mean,
in 15 minutes.
It was like
so
like
Kim
15 seconds.
Kim in the chat was mentioning. Kim in the chat mentions that she's one who has anxiety, and the only things that actually really work for her She actually referred to it as street drug. You can't call it that anymore. You can't call it anymore because you can buy that in the stores now. The only thing that worked for her was weed.
Can't buy that here.
Is a fantastic thing. And I'm not even one. I'm not one to say like, oh, I want to go home and get like stoned. Like that's not what I do. Like you talk about the microdosing aspect of it. Like I have my edibles are all 5 milligrams, which are the perfect amount just to give you like it to equate it to like how affected are you by it. I would equate it to having like a 6-pack of beer and how level of drunk you get. That's about how the level of and it's different.
Matt,
hard to compare, but like you're not like incapacitated in that sense. But the good part about having the 5 milligrams is that you can easily take 2 if you really want to kind of elevate that experience a little bit more. But there's so many good and really beneficial aspects of the legalization of some of these formerly known as street drugs, because they do have such a. Oh, Matt just got excited.
No, I'm just always surprised when Jack switches up his backdrop,
especially with Star Wars. You got a little Star Wars.
He got a little wood there. He did.
Yeah.
Little
there,
is the key word.
There's so much benefit behind it. So like that's the point I was trying to make earlier is I'm glad to see that the science is looking at things like psilocybin and has already looked at and approved things like, THC to help with a variety of different things. So
yeah, I mean,
hopefully
I think,
it's coming to a state near you.
I mean, I'm me being the way I am. I mean, I've always, if it's a victimless crime or a victimless thing, then it's not really a crime. So if I'm smoking weed or doing mushrooms, I'm not hurting anybody but myself, so it's like, why should it not be legal? It's just my opinion, but
legalize alcohol.
And that's just it, Nick, too. Like, you think about it, weed doesn't even hurt the individual. I mean, unless you're smoking it, because then you have the inherent, drawbacks of smoking anything. But there's
that Seth Rogen laugh.
Yeah, but there's so many different ways to administer nowadays that you don't need to smoke.
He's got the smoker's laugh.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You don't have to smoke. So like the accessibility of healthier alternative ways of administering are all out there, and it's quite frankly awesome. It's probably one of the better things of the 21st century that we've kind of progressed with in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Sidebar: when they were making the 10 Commandments, why didn't God say slavery is wrong?
There were 15.
Like out of all of them,
because King James wouldn't have been able to benefit from it.
It's like, no. I mean, they could have just like solved a lot. Like, like, hey, no human should own another human. Just saying.
All right, so I have to make a decision right now with you guys, and I know this is a controversial topic. Do we or do we not bring up the Catholic religion this week?
I never met a priest I didn't like.
Namely, the Vatican.
And they're
said. I'm not Catholic, so I don't care.
So, as of 2 days ago, neither am I.
Well, I can't believe a lot of people are still Catholic.
So,
even though my whole family's Catholic.
So I guess the answer to my question is yes, we are going to continue this conversation. Or do you think this is too alienating, or is this it's a sensitive topic because religion and faith? I
don't blame the people. You can't blame people that.
Absolutely not.
But it's just they're not going to give up the Catholic Church.
So
all churches are about.
What's interesting about that, Jack, is I'm curious to see, and only time will tell, what will the financial impact be with the statements that came out of the Vatican this week. And for those listening
it's the same thing as politicians.
But it's different.
You go back. It's similar, because if you go back and watch all these politicians that, it's between a man and woman, then when it went from being under 50% to over 50%, people. Oh yeah, suddenly they had a change of heart. It's going to be the same thing with the Catholic Church. If they start seeing a loss in revenue, then they will change it.
I think we're going to see a couple of things, right? I think they're going to see a loss of revenue, but I also think there's going to be an uptick in the overcharged emotions of the folks who actually are still aligned with that viewpoint that the Vatican has. And I think there's going to be an increase of anti-LGBTQ plus sentiment out there that's going to feel justified, a la the American society of the last 4 years, feeling justified going and doing the things that they did in the name of their leader. So it scares me, quite honestly. And I woke up that morning and I went to work and I saw that headline and I felt like complete fucking shit for a couple of hours. Because, I mean, I don't think I've ever talked about this before, maybe briefly, but I grew up, I was brought up as a Catholic. I was, First Communion, baptized, CCD, confirmation, the whole thing. And I haven't, for the last 20 years or so, really practiced religion in the sense of gone to church and the other thing. But I've had a residual level of faith, around me in one way or another. And I can tell you that as of what I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, I personally have cut any ties for me with the religion I was once a part of, because after the Pope had said that all children are God's children and so forth and so on, the Catholic Church and Vatican came out and said that they would not bless same-sex marriages, and it was considered a sin. And I think that is the fucking worst thing the church has done in a couple hundred years. Not including things they did to children and look the other way. But I couldn't fucking believe it.
Covered it up.
Yeah, and I had a moment where I was like, God, this is something. I say God because that's just whatever. I can't believe that this is actually happening in real life, in real time. And it really blew me away. And I have officially, I'm not a Catholic anymore. I'm done. I haven't been religious.
Don't you have to go to special classes to not be a Catholic anymore? Do you have to,
probably? But fuck it.
Because the Catholic Church is pretty intense.
Yeah, you're going to be excommunicated. Are you okay with that?
That's fine. Yeah, fuck them. I'm done. It's unbelievable. And
there's going to be Catholic bounty hunters after you, man.
But here's the thing, and I feel badly about saying a lot of these
little
things
leprechauns.
There's a lot of people. there's a lot of people who don't feel as strongly as I do, but don't feel that they don't agree with the church, that are still aligned with the church. And this is nothing against people who are continuing their faith. You have your own choice to do whatever you want. I personally could not align myself with the statements that came out of that church this week.
That's what's interesting about America, I think, in a lot of ways, and how we look at these things. Because you're obviously, because you and I are the only two true Irish of ancestry here. You're French and Swiss, Jack. You know it. And we got the German over there in the upper left corner.
I'm English.
You don't know me.
But obviously your forefathers or great parents that came over were from the lower Ireland that was mostly Catholic. My family, or Midland people, which probably were Catholic.
Southern Ireland?
I'm from Dunn's. The Dunn name is from the middle of the Ireland. But my mom's side, her family was all from Northern Ireland, so they were Protestants. So it's one of those things where did it, which way did it sway you? But the more, I get into a lot of discussions with Southerners and Americans, things like that, with religion, we're not close to doctrine like a lot of other people who are deeply religious are. We're very, even our founding fathers were not people of religion. Like George Washington, all those guys were more transcendentalists or more deity people of as in we just believe in nature.
They were dentists, you said?
they weren't strict Catholics, or where it's this is a written law. It was hey, it's all up to your interpretation, which is what a lot of Americans. I was told it was
John Kennedy was the first. That's what I was always told. That was John Kennedy.
Well, he was the first Catholic. That's true. Elected president. Yeah,
and look where that got him.
Is he also the last president that was Catholic? I don't think there has been
Biden Catholic.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. Biden is okay. Biden is the first Catholic president since JFK.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
And look what it did to your faith.
Yeah, that's why I said. That's why I said he's not
to the core.
Biden said, "I'm not going to Dallas." He said that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
And Sherry in the chat is saying that she's 100% Irish. So
hey,
yeah.
I love Ireland.
Explains why she's drunk half the time.
Explains why she likes to see us shit on each other.
That's kind of cool. So Sherry mentioned 2 brothers met 2 sisters. Hopefully they were of separate families, which it appear they are.
They came across the Titanic.
Met 2 sisters in the boat from Ireland to America and ended up marrying each other and living within a mile of each other. That's awesome. Very cool.
You know what also interrupts this entire podcast within a mile? Commercial break.
I mean, are you happy,
all right.
Matt? This is like your first time to actually.
I know. I was
call
trying to
the
get it in before Chris.
Yeah, you were like
I'm
he was trying to throw it out there to throw a bone to all of us to like say, hey, that's time for a break. We just let you hang out to dry with that. We're like, yeah, you go ahead, finish your joke. and then you realize mid joke that it wasn't funny.
I think we have to take another commercial break after this message.
I love you, man.
He did have that look. He's like,
hey.
Why is no one going to interrupt me now?
I guess it's not Christmas in Boston.
I'm just saying. We've talked drugs and religion now, so I guess now we have to talk about sex, right? Because
let's do it.
We got to. So how was rekindling with this woman after 25 years?
Fuck's sake. It's funny. So, okay, all right. I'll share this.
I didn't hear a denial.
I'll share. No, there was. I did not.
Depends on what the definition of is.
So the funny story though is this is I'll share this little clip and then we'll move on to another story because I feel like this has been beaten down pretty hard. But the
that's what she said.
Yeah,
that's are fucking awful. So, anyways, I found out what you guys had named the show after it had posted. And I was like, you fucking assholes. So I immediately messaged her. And I was like, so hey, and I'm like, just in case you check out the show and post,
remember to deny.
I go, these assholes named the show, and I wasn't a part of it, and I want you to know that did not come from me. And she's like, no, but that's fucking funny. I alliterated. I put those words, and she goes, no, but I think she said, no, but I really did need to laugh. So it made her laugh in the time that she needed to laugh, which is good.
That's what we're here for.
But she said, and then she also followed and said, I know you would never say something like that, which I wouldn't. So.
Not on air. Not on air.
Oh, Christ.
Plausible deniability.
Christ. I thought you gave up Christ.
Speaking of
this. That's why I can say the name in vain now.
Yeah, I can say it in vain and say, fuck it all.
If you really want to be ballsy about it, you say God's bones.
God's bones?
Yeah,
why?
God's bones. Well,
what's that?
We talked about this at one point, but it was an old time curse. It was
right. Yeah, that's a while. That's a call.
That was going to be in our Netflix series till you fucked it up.
Speaking of things that fucked it up by disrespecting Jesus, let's get to those covers of the Beatles songs, huh?
I haven't looked at that in a while.
Let's
break for a commercial.
No, we've already
done that. God, where are you?
All right. See, it somehow, even though it didn't fucking work, it was funny.
Randy says God's collarbone. Yeah. I know both.
God's collarbone is in 3 places.
Randy, congratulations,
that's got to be the title of the episode.
You have named the episode of this week. This week's episode has to be God's collarbone.
By the way,
God's collarbones.
John and Kim seem to be the only people in the chat that seem to care about like my collarbone or my injury. Now they're like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Oh God, dude, it happened a month ago. Move on.
Yeah, move on. Yeah,
stop milking it.
Dude, your shit's half healed already. So fucking move on. Let's talk about the Beatles.
You can put your jeans on by yourself now. You don't need help.
You're right. I can. Fine. That's fine. Whatever. Moving on. I just was going to say that it's weird now as things heal that where the stitch is, right? Mm-hmm. One side super sensitive, like the skin's like super sensitive. The other side super numb, and then along the ridge where the nerves were cut, it's like I have this burning sensation. So every now and then I'm like, oh, it feels
like.
Are you still talking about your collarbone? No, I think he's talking about something else.
You talking about the chlamydia, or are you talking about your collarbone?
That's what I'm saying. I'm wondering what bone you're talking about. Super sensitive in some spots, super numb in other places, and it burns.
Okay. Why do you keep screaming when you're peeing?
Every time I raise my hand, it burns.
Okay, fine. All right, so the Beatles, the best cover of a Beatles song. Clearly, this is not by the people that voted. You guys suck. Thanks for everybody that voted for my song, which came in last.
You can thank them personally.
With 6 votes. Well, I mean, let's face it. Like, the people that really...
Six votes in 2.5 weeks?
Yeah, but Matt Treist is one of those votes, and I feel like he is somebody that really...
He just made a mistake. His name's Matt.
All right, We Can Work It Out by Stevie Wonder came in with 6 votes. Just barely beating out last place was Here Comes the Sun, performed by Nina Simone with 7 votes. Both of these songs highly overlooked by the other groups here that just completely focused on While My Guitar Gently Weeps, which came in with 32 votes, and The Monster, the one that everybody just seems to associate with Wonder Years, and if it wasn't for Wonder Years, nobody would give a shit about the song. With a little help from my friends, performed by Joe Cocker with 67 votes. Wins the day. Even won the Twitter poll that I put out as well. So
yeah, but we could have predicted. I think we did predict that. That's exactly what it was.
J pick. Yeah.
So, yeah, we did.
Jimi Hendrix also did a pretty good.
What did Jay vote for?
Of Sgt. Pepper.
Did Jay vote?
I don't know. I wasn't looking for Jay's
because he usually votes. Because I've noticed he usually votes for the winner.
Oh yeah,
I think he waits to see how the voting's going, and he goes, "Oh yeah, yeah." I'm pasty white.
So,
I'm going to do this.
So while we
speaking of Catholics, Jay.
So while we're pulling this up, so I know at least one, maybe 2 of us in this right now may have listened to or watched something I recommended for you guys to watch on Instagram over this past week with Christian James Hand.
Mm-hmm. I did not get a chance to watch. I was in the middle. I was in the middle of some grading, so I saw there was.
I thought I had COVID this weekend, so I had.
So, oh really?
Seriously, I went and I even got the test, which I just found out today.
Yeah,
my wife. My wife found out because I had all the symptoms. I was like Friday, I was just chills and I felt like shit. Now I've been taking 2. My grandkids were sick all week though too, and I was just like, I was all congested. My wife kept waiting. Are you breathing? What? Because I was trying to get some sleep. So we finally went and get the little test, and she got hers the next day. I literally had to call today, and they're asking me all these questions. I go, and I knew it was negative, but I said, well, I might as well because I felt better, but I might as well find out, and it was negative. Just had the flu or something. But I can't imagine having COVID as bad as I felt. Like Saturday, I felt like absolute shit. I think because we were supposed to have the Glatfelder boys over, and I had to cancel on them, which I felt bad. They're supposed to spend the night.
Glad that you are not.
And I did. We did have to cancel the leftover rewatch because I said there's no way I can do it.
Yeah,
but now I feel good.
Well, that's good. So what I was mentioning was,
I felt so bad. I said, you know what? I'm going to give up the Catholic. I'm not going to be a Catholic anymore.
There you go.
I just said, fuck it. I ain't doing it.
Fuck religion.
Not hiding any of these choir boys anymore. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
So Nick, I think you had a chance to listen to it. So what I'm referring to, just for those who are listening on the show who obviously are not in our chat, but there's this music producer, drummer, sound technician. His name is Christian James Hand. Christian James Hand. He has a radio segment he does out in LA and also an IG Live where he takes a song. He has all the original stem tracks from all these crazy songs and from the studio, and he breaks down the song essentially track by track by track, and then rebuilds the song one track at a time. pointing out things you may or may not have heard or understood about the song, and telling some really crazy, entertaining stories along the way because he has tons of them for being in the music industry.
Is he on mushrooms?
Yeah.
Is he on shrooms when he's doing it?
He's a pretty serious guy.
Pretty serious dude. And he's super, super smart when it comes, like he's got this musical brain that I can't even wrap my head around of how he can interpret things and understand things. But he also
told all of us. Well. He told all of us this.
Yeah, he messaged us.
He said, check this out. I know he sent to Jay and I and Matt. Yeah.
So, but the really the impressive thing is, how well he does translating that to the people who don't have that level of knowledge. So his ability to understand, to explain to his viewers how these things work out and how songs are built is actually really impressive, because I have been obsessed with listening to him now. I'm listening to old, the radio station KLOS in Los Angeles has had him on every Monday morning to break down a song. And they have since then re-released all of these segments that he did in podcast form that you can download. But his IG Live is only live. You can't go back and play it again. I'm assuming probably because of copyright.
For people that aren't hip, it's Instagram Live. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Instagram Live. So he broke down A Day in the Life by the Beatles most recently. And Nick, you had a chance to watch it. Just curious to what your thoughts were.
I thought it was terrible.
First, I want to acknowledge the elephant in the room that Randy points out a very good point, that maybe Chris just sent it to the Owen and Baru's thread instead of the Ramblecast thread, so Jack got left out.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah, I don't remember. Possible. I don't remember any of this.
That's actually likely.
Yeah.
Fuck Jack.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. To me, it was one of those. Because I live in an ADHD world to where it's like, okay, I get it, move on. I still thought it was really cool because he does dwell on a lot of stuff for a long period of time, but I did enjoy it. I liked at the very end of A Day in the Life, the last piano strike of just the dun, I always have loved that. And I always thought, like a lot of people, that's just someone just striking a piano really hard. And it's not. It's like this, it's just tons of tracks on top of each other with different instruments that make that sound. The same as because if he opened up with, Hard Day's Night, for example, that opening chord is actually 3 different instruments playing different chords, but all together at one time make out this one particular chord. And so it's just interesting. It's interesting to see someone break it down track by track to hear, because when I tuned in to the Day in the Life when he was talking about Ringo just doing the drum track, for example, and so you're really hearing no bass, no kick drum, just literally just Ringo, just, so it's like, it really is, unless you really love a song or really appreciate music, you're not going to get it. But when you hear it and then you slowly builds it, you hear the scratch vocal of Lennon in the background, you barely hear, you barely hear it. The little things, just the guy, and so it is interesting to hear it, and then with John just doing the very simple jing, 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 the rhythm guitar, and then Paul playing the piano. It's just an interesting way
to layer everything on top of each other. It turns into this whole fucking cacophony, right? But one of the coolest things that I learned while watching that was, right at the end of that first, the orchestral build up, which by the way, 40-person orchestra literally sitting behind John and Paul, which is incredible. But right at the end of that, right when he says, "And I wake up and get out of bed," that whole part of the song, you hear the alarm clock ringing.
Yeah.
I always thought that was just a catchy little interlude into the second verse or whatever. But that is an actual alarm clock that the Beatles had used in the studio to count a 24-beat timer for the orchestra, but they couldn't erase it from the track, and it just stayed in. Mm-hmm. But it fit precision perfect with the beat of the song, and they kept it in, and it sounds like it's an afterthought, but it's actually part of the production of the song, which I think is incredible.
I was with him on that, though, that I thought that was completely full of shit.
He's like, fuck it, I don't know if that's true.
Because how do you set an alarm clock to go off at exact time? Because that was one of those where especially those old, round ones with the bells on it. I didn't believe that one bit, because there's always different accounts from different people of who created something, who thought of something, who did this. And I've read so many books about Paul and John and George and all that, because I always recall, like I said before, that no, I
didn't write any books.
I don't read Ringo books. Peace and love. Because Paul had visited L.A. in December of '66 to visit Brian Wilson during the Smile sessions, and Brian was experimenting with real sounds in music. So he was doing stuff like that, like eating a carrot to have that crunch sound, to having alarm clocks going off, to having all these real sounds be placed into music to have like these random effects. And so Paul was actually sat in on a song called Vegetables, where he actually did some of those real effects. And on the flight back to London is where he got the idea for Sgt. Pepper of like, oh, let's have a track that leads into another track, because that's what Brian was doing. And so to me, it makes more sense for them to say like, hey, let's have this little bit here that's like all about getting up in the morning. Let's have an alarm clock to say like, hey, I woke up, fell out of bed. It makes more sense to do that.
Dolphin Paper's making a splash on IG, says Randy.
Yeah.
Randy would know. He follows Dolphin Papers on Instagram.
So
I do.
Oh no, the idea of the show.
Too.
The idea of his show is actually very, very interesting. The cool thing is he's friends with a lot of musicians, and he brings people in to talk. And I think he and John Mayer were actually trying to bring this show to Netflix, but they got denied. But anyways, if you're interested in hearing,
show up too?
Copyrights,
copyrights
in that.
So many. The bots came in. I was watching him do Peter Gabriel, and the bots started kicking him off because as he layers more onto the song, it gets recognized by the automated bots. But as an example, one thing to check out, In Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel, beautiful song. Always loved it. Danced to many girl in 8th grade to that song. But did you know there's 17 tracks of different instruments on that song?
Wait.
Wait.
Are you going to reach out? Are you going to in 8th grade? There was a girl. Have you reached out to her?
Nope. So
what happened? What happened? Take a second. You've been preaching this for like 6 months now. Reach out and. You're not going to reach out to this girl in 8th grade? Why?
I don't remember who it was.
Chris is like, fuck that noise. I'm trying to make a point here about Peter Gabriel.
Actually, in Jack, the one who I remember is actually dead.
Oh.
So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go. Drugs are bad. Except the ones we talked about earlier, because those are fun.
Come back.
True story. So, anyways, he's actually live right now. So if you want to check it out, you can.
What's his name? Because I never got the link. So
on Instagram, it's the Session IG Live. That's his Instagram page. Also, if you're interested in wanting to go, because if you don't watch it live, you can't catch it. But if you want to go back on your podcast feed, you can do a search for the FHF Studio Session with Christian James Hand. Again, those are 22-minute podcasts that are actual clips from on-air radio at KLOS. So you'll hear sometimes you'll hear the commercials.
So this guy's an older person, right?
He's in his 50s, but he's very well versed, pun intended, in the music industry.
He's as old as Matt and I.
Yeah. But he's toured the country. He tells crazy stories about with Lenny Kravitz and Peter Gabriel and all these guys. Such an entertaining listen. I highly recommend it. So check it out if you're looking.
So is he like Peter? Was it Peter? Is it Peter Noon who does the Beatle? He's on the Beatles network on satellite.
Yeah.
Turtles.
Yeah.
He has some wild. He's got some wild stories.
Yeah, I listened to Big Steve on the Grateful Dead, man. He's got those guys they lived a life. Oh, yeah. I'll say that much. But yeah, check it out. It's a lot of fun. I'd love to hear it. Yeah. So Fisher Protocol says a show called Song Exploder, hosted by the guy who does West Wing, Rishi, what's his name? Same idea, but here's the interesting thing. So I don't know. Again, this depends on who you talk to. Supposedly, Christian James Hand had the idea first, went to Netflix. They said no, and then they went and brought the idea to West Wing, dude. So there's some animosity, I believe, behind the scenes with that. I think this guy is. I know Rishi is a super smart dude, but this guy is a fucking musical genius. Give him a listen, you'll see for yourself.
It's the same as it sounds like Element or whatever it was, that Sherlock-esque show that came out on Elementary. Yeah, BBC, it did Sherlock, and they wanted to do the same thing in America, and Stephen Moffat said no, and so they just said, "Oh, fine, we'll do our own one," and called it Elementary. And
my wife loved that show.
I wasn't judging the show. I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying I'm not saying it was good. I said she watches a lot of bad television.
every time I think of Lucy Liu, though, who was on that show, I think of Bill Murray, because Bill Murray and her hated each other because and during Charlie's Angels, Bill Murray basically told her she can't act, and it was one of those moments to where they never were on set together because it was such a uproar.
It's funny. I always think of her from the movie Get Carter. No, not Get. Is it Get Carter? The Payback. Sorry.
The Payback. Yeah.
The Payback. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why I said Get Carter.
Is that Mel Gibson? Payback?
Yeah, Mel Gibson.
Okay.
Mel Gibson. Yeah.
We there was another Versus.
Speaking of good Catholics,
we had floated around. Good Catholics. There was another idea for Versus that we floated around. Are we going to do that? You guys want to?
If you want.
What was that?
Best trilogy.
Oh, you guys were serious about that?
I just threw it out there, but I'm
just fucking with you.
That's why he got his Star Wars background ready to go. He wants to pick Star Wars.
He's doing Free Willy. Everyone knows that's the best trilogy.
Free Willy again, and Freer Willy.
I mean, at that point, if the orca keeps getting caught, I mean, at that point,
it's not him, isn't it?
Yeah,
maybe he wants to go back to the establishment.
Whatever happened to that kid from Free Willy? I mean, he was.
I don't know.
Did Michael Jackson? I know he did the song.
Chris, you were going to say something.
Yeah, so saying who should do the dice roll this week? I know we did not trust Matt to do it last time.
Well, you did it last time. You were fine.
I mean, I'm cool with doing it if you guys want me to. Let me just pull up an old dice rolling website here.
So the bigger question is do we include Star Wars or do we not? I mean, it's technically a trilogy, but now it's not.
You can't leave.
There's three trilogies.
Right. But I mean, there's certain movies
that would make Jack so happy if we just picked the prequel trilogy, the original trilogy, and the sequel trilogy
against Godfather.
I've seen
against the Godfather.
There's so many arguments against the Godfather trilogy. You kidding me?
I mean, the bigger question is so certain movies do they count as a trilogy? If there's four movies, like for instance, the Indiana Jones, right? Like Indiana Jones
disqualified. It's not a trilogy.
So then, how is Star Wars not disqualified?
I consider Indiana Jones a trilogy, but because because you have the trilogy, and then you have the other movie.
We have the power, gentlemen. We have the ability right now to call it. So
can I just say that you're lucky you're not on Facebook because that thread is going to just be a clusterfuck.
Oh yeah.
Well, this last one with the Beatles actually
they're going to tee it up. I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to tee it up.
Well, there's really only a handful of like if we're talking about solid trilogies, So
solid trilogy.
I wouldn't consider. So here's the thing: I wouldn't consider Star Wars a trilogy.
Can Rocky be a trilogy?
Because they went up to like 5 and beyond. They have
I see. It's true.
I mean, because what about James Bond?
Let's mix it up a little bit. Let's just say any movie that had three
in
or
order.
more.
You can't just be like I want Rocky 1, 2, and 5. He has to be like
Star Trek.
Rocky 1?
I want Star Trek 2, 3, and 4.
By that statement, then if you choose Star Wars, you are embracing every Star Wars movie as part of your pick.
Yes, I think that's how it should be.
That's
how it's got to be.
So you're saying
but that's a series. Then you're saying a series because
Well, say movie franchise.
The three sagas.
Franchise.
So that's we have a debate about this. This is a whole versus in itself. So should we consider if you going by the train of thought that if you're going to go ahead with 3 or more movies to a series, if you're going to embrace Star Wars as your pick, then you have to own episodes 1 through whatever the fuck
9.
You'd have to embrace all 9.
But there were 10.
Right? Or if you wanted to pick Indiana Jones as your trilogy,
you have to pick the loser.
You have to embrace the Crystal Skull as
this
part
changes
of
everything.
Yeah, because this becomes a series as opposed to a trilogy. Because I think of a trilogy as 3 movies, very specific.
Skip the trilogy and call it movie franchise.
It's a whole other versus.
Yeah,
I'm with Nick.
I don't know.
I think it's less confusing.
I don't. Because to me, it's like let's just take Rocky because you brought it up. I think Rocky 1, 2, and 3 is a trilogy because it actually follows a linear pattern, whereas in Rocky 4 is a clear break from 1, 2, and 3.
All right,
he saved the world.
All right, so then we can agree on this then. If the trilogy happens to be in its own self-sustaining arc, then it could be a part of more than 3 movies, we will consider it as a trilogy. So for the record, you could claim Empire Strikes Back as your trilogy. I'm sorry, not Empire Strikes Back. The new, what they call the Skywalker Saga could be your... No, Skywalker Saga is like 6 movies.
No, it's either original trilogy, prequel trilogy, or sequel trilogy.
Okay, you have to pick one of the.
You can pick one. Okay, I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that.
Because if I pick Lord of the Rings, I don't want the fucking Hobbit trilogy thrown in my trilogy.
Fair. Okay, so we will be.
Oh my God, Hobbit! I like the Hobbit trilogy.
And we wonder why things can't get done in Washington.
And we can debate the efficacy of whether or not one trilogy is a single arc or not live in the moment, and we can shit on you for it.
By the way, Jaws 4 is way better than Jaws 3. Just saying.
Hey,
Jaws 3D? Are you serious? What?
All right.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
I got the dice ready to rock. I'm gonna share my screen.
I'm still going with The Hangover. Doesn't matter.
I'm so scared if I get first pick now. I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, I know, right?
You know.
All right.
I think the winner.
We go.
I think the winner from the last one should go first.
Okay.
That's fair.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
you go last, Matt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So Matt, who's going first?
Jack
Chris,
won.
Chris. I mean, Jack goes Chris. Yeah, Jack goes Chris. Jack goes first.
Jack, me, Nick, Matt.
Yeah.
Jack gets a 1. I get a 4.
How convenient.
Nick gets a 4. Matt, 2. All right. Damn. So for first place, Nick, is between you and I. So I'll go first. I'll get a 4, and Nick gets a 6.
Whoa!
So it's gonna go Nick, me, Matt, Jack. Nick, me, Matt, Jack is the order.
It's just my nightmare.
It's your nightmare?
Yeah. It's like because there's so many. I don't want to go first.
This is ironically, this is also your best of that you thought of.
I know it's mine, but I just
And you're the one that added all the rules to it, so it's like rules.
I didn't have
a knife fight.
That's a good one.
All right, Nick, you are on the clock, my friend.
No. This is just where we pick. This is not where we shit. This is just where we pick. So
you're on the clock for picking.
Okay.
Your nightmare is going first for this. My nightmare is going last.
Hey, human rain delay. What's going on here?
I'm thinking.
It's a lot of pressure. Hey, by the way, I recently watched
what are they gonna pick?
I recently watched Blade Runner 2049. I liked it.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's a bit long.
It's a bit long, but I watched it.
Why'd you throw him off?
I watched it in segments, and I'm trying to buy him time.
I felt with the Blade Runner the feel of it.
Stop! Make your pick right now.
All right, I'm going to go with Lord of the Rings.
All right, Jay.
All right.
Do you want to say anything about it?
No, we can do that later.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I mean, I can. Right. I mean, well, you want to pick? Do you want me to talk? Do you want me to talk, or do you want me to just go?
Tell us why.
The game is that you make the pick and then you say
campaign
why.
for it. Yeah, you say why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So I think Lord of the Rings, as a trilogy, is the strongest because I would not classify any of the films as solid 10s. But they're all solid 9s, and that the production, the acting, the way that because they're all made as one film, it's there as all three equally satisfying, and and the fact that these films, not the films, but the story influenced so many other great trilogies that it's a good film, and a good message. So
nice. So my pick, I immediately chose this pick in my head as I was going through it, and I actually asked my wife and Dave, and I said, "Hey,
for permission."
Yeah, right. So I said, "Hey,
my kid."
I'm about to do a show and we're gonna talk. And we're gonna talk about the best movie trilogy of all time. What would you say? And my wife agreed with me. She actually said my pick out loud.
Wait, hold on. Did she know the rules? It could have like 10, 12 movies.
No, because this one only has 3, and it's a traditional trilogy, and that is Back to the Future. Back to the Future is probably my favorite movie. I will say is not only the best, but I will say it's my favorite movie trilogy. And Star Wars is in that conversation. And I'm putting Back to the Future as a trilogy over any of the Star Wars trilogies. I
mean, there's 4 I had in mind. Yeah. And the 3 that you have mentioned were my top 3. I mean, it's a hard decision.
It's a very hard decision. I will say that, like, as a kid, I grew up watching Back to the Future. I have such nostalgic memories of going to Pizza Hut with my dad and getting your free pair of Back to the Future 2 sunglasses. That movie series hit so many points for me. Number one, it made me so interested in hearing about the 50s because that's when my parents went to high school, right? So I was obsessed with that. I remember like sitting there and looking through my parents' yearbooks being like, where's McFly? And then, the second movie gave you like all these kids, like kid-like obsession with what the future was to hold. Mm. And the third one was a fucking Western. Like it literally hit all these amazing like time periods. But it is a time traveling movie. And to this day, I think it's probably one of the most successful, if not the most successful, depiction of time travel and its implications. So I'm going to go ahead and say Back to the Future is my pick.
You guys backed me into a corner here. I came into this with one, like I was thinking Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is the most complete, but I gotta go original trilogy, Star Wars. I mean, it's in my fabric. It's in my if I didn't pick it at this point, you guys didn't pick it. And Back to the Future was in that conversation because it makes me feel
some
fun.
Balls.
Here's the thing, Lord of the Rings. Sometimes it's boring.
Wait.
Future.
This is not the shitting on.
Whoa, dude!
Don't feel bad about my pick or yours because Jack's gonna pick 3 random episodes of fucking MASH and call it a trilogy. It's gonna happen. So don't even worry about it. We're gonna shit on him anyway.
I'm going with the trilogy that made me. So it's Star Wars original trilogy. So sure, the third one could let you down, but even as my son been watching all of these, he came to me the other day and he said, Dad, you could just watch the 3 middle movies, the original trilogy, and they just work on their own. They don't need the other ones. And I'm like, and you've arrived, son.
And seen.
You're almost 11 now. I feel like you've become a man.
I mean, that's why a lot of people now start with episode 4 because you don't have to watch any of the ones to understand it. You get it,
Yep.
I mean, of course, like a lot of people now are starting with Rogue One, like Chris, which makes total sense as well. Now, Jack's got the last pick. I think there's only one trilogy that could really throw a monkey wrench in this whole argument.
Well,
and I don't think he'll pick it.
Well, we had 3 straight J. We had 3 straight J picks. Let's be honest.
True.
3. I mean, it's like I'm sitting there
thinking,
great.
Okay, they're all 3 great.
It doesn't matter what I pick because I'm not going to. I can't win. Let's just face it.
You can't. There's one choice out there that could really resonate with the younger generation.
Can Ghostbusters count? Because there's been 3 Ghostbusters.
No. There's only been 2 Ghostbusters, and then some shit film that someone made a few years ago.
I'm not bashing women like you are, Nick.
It's not the same story arc. Not the same story arc.
It's true.
But wasn't Bill Murray in the third one?
You know what? If you want to consider it three movies, then I will say you can.
If you want to die on that hill, then you go for it.
If you want to own the atrocity that was the most recent,
let's see which one Jay picks.
Yeah. Wow, that'd be tough.
Wow, that would be fun.
He's waiting to the last minute.
I could go with The Godfather, but it's not going to win. Or the man with no name trilogy.
Just reading Will's comment here.
What do you say?
The Man with No Name.
Excellent choice. Oh, I thought it was. I just saw that. I'm behind. I don't know. God, Jesus Christ. I can't win. I can't win. The man with the. Oh, Rambo. No, how many Rambos were there? There are like 35 Rambos, right?
You can pick Indiana Jones. You can pick Indiana Jones. You can pick there's some other ones. There's some really good ones out there still. There's a lot of trilogies, man.
Indiana Jones too. This is me.
I'm gonna go with The Godfather just because
you can pick the Tremors trilogy.
Wow. So going with The Godfather is like it's owning Godfather 3 is like owning
hey, wait. It's my turn to
It is.
Talk about it. It's not your turn to shit on my thing yet.
You're right. I apologize.
Okay, rain delay.
It's human rain delay.
Okay, well, it's human rain delay.
You get the Matrix trilogy.
Yeah, I didn't.
I'm just saying there's some other ones out there. There's one that I haven't said yet.
The Blade trilogy. Blade trilogies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got Alien 1, 2, and 3.
Alien 1, 2, 3.
I could go with The Hangover.
Aliens 3 trilogy leaves you in a happy place too. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with The Godfather just because I can't win. So yeah, The Godfather. The first two are just two of the best movies of all time.
Okay, so you're locking it in. You're locking it in with The Godfather.
I'm gonna lock it in with, Go ahead and shit on the
you know what you should have picked. You know what you should have picked.
What?
Should have picked the Toy Story trilogy.
JP,
there's the 4
chat.
of them.
2 girls, 1 cup trilogy. What the fuck?
2 girls, 1 cup.
I didn't think about Toy Story because I'll take Toy Story.
No, you can't.
No. You're already locked in. You're locked in with The Godfather, dude.
I mean, Toy Story has Godfather references.
Toy Story was the monkey wrench that could have actually.
That's what I'm saying. That was the monkey wrench because it's a cartoon. It appeals to the younger generation.
I was thinking there was 4 of them, and I forget the different rules you guys set up. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah,
Toy Story trilogy.
You just fucking lost.
I don't care.
That would have been the J pick. Was the Toy Story trilogy?
Watch Godfather wins.
Yeah, no, right?
It doesn't have a chance.
All right, Nick, go ahead. Let's hear what you don't have to say.
The voters don't have taste. It doesn't have a choice.
We're crapping on people now?
Yeah,
sure,
jump away.
Okay, so I'll just start with Jack because it's the easiest. You can't pick the Godfather trilogy because the 1, 2, you're absolutely right.
It's a real
awesome.
trilogy.
It's awesome. The third part wasn't even considered to be part of The Godfather. It was called The Death of Michael Corleone. And then it was so panned and so god-awful that he just now recut it 27 years later. It's so awful. I haven't watched it. I'm going to watch the recut version of it, though. Original Star Wars trilogy, great trilogy, but everyone knows that Return of the Jedi is the weakest of the 3. And you got freaking teddy bears and all the happy ending, and it's just kind of like, And then Chris picked Back to the Future. Great trilogy. Not really a lot of complaints with it, other than there's some mistakes. Okay, I'm not gonna shit on it. So all right,
so we'll start with the Lord of the Rings. In truth be told, if Back to the Future was picked before mine, Lord of the Rings would be my backup. I will say, the one bit of criticism that I can give the Lord of the Rings trilogy is that it could have been 7 hours shorter.
You're not going to use the Clerks 2 argument.
Let's see what else we had. We had Matt. You had the Star Wars trilogy. Star Wars has a place in my heart that will always be right here. And I will tell you that it's a hard conversation to have. But if you're going to look at the total, writing to production quality, I will tell you this: I don't think Star Wars knew what it had until it was over. Like the greatest parts about Star Wars were discovered after the original trilogy were made. I think that the universe expanded 100-fold. Once the success of that story came. That being said, I will say that there's nothing on this entire panel that's worse than Godfather Part 3. So, Jack, your pick is terrible. Godfather Part 3 is literally unwatchable. So you can't have 1/3 of your pick be unwatchable and have it be a solid pick. That's it. That's all I have.
Okay, well, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, although great, can just be it's like really good to put you to sleep too. You can take a nap to it. It's like watching soccer.
You can take a long walk.
And I love soccer and I love Lord of the Rings, but I like it too because I can just put them on in the background and I can come back and they're still fucking walking someplace and we don't even know fucking where they're walking. I mean, how many bedroom scenes does Frodo have to have? I think he has one in each, single movie. It's like he's in a bed somewhere, not a single one. So, that's already kind of like. And what really
there was a questionable scene though where all the hobbits come.
What does happen? On the bed. Hey, that's on them, And I appreciate the hobbits for having second breakfast and tons of sausage.
11th season.
Yeah. The Catholic Church hated that scene.
Back to the Future could have been a perfect trilogy had they planned out or known exactly how it was going to end. Like 2 and 3 are really kind of shoehorned in there, and 2 survives basically on 1. It just reinvents itself, it's kind of like a Xeroxed copy, which I guess you could say Return of the Jedi is a Xerox copy of A New Hope, but bullshit.
It's true, yeah.
And
then, he tells Marty in the first film not to mess with the space-time continuum, and then what's he do in the third film? He marries a woman and has 2 kids with her. So
hey, I'm just saying Star Wars original trilogy, unedited, no special edition bullshit here. It is the gold standard because, who couldn't get it done? Michael Corleone. The third movie we all knew was shitty. I even remember seeing posters for it back in the day, and I was like, this is not going to live up to the other ones. So, and as a 14-year-old kid, I saw the writing on the wall, and he was dead. DOA, Godfather, spelled backwards. That's it. It's all my shitty.
Did you know that if you say fuck off and you say it backwards, it sounds like an Irishman saying fuck off?
You should,
Write that down and look at it. It's really fun.
Jackie should have gone with the Mighty Ducks trilogy.
Ooh, Gordon Bombay for the W. Wait a second. You can't use the fucking podcast chat handle to campaign for your shit.
No, we didn't endorse that, by the way. Yeah.
No, not at all. Anyway, Jack.
It's weird because like Star Wars, since he's here, I'm just going to crap on it. Star Wars, endorses bestiality. It endorses, incest. Endorses a lot of weird, twisted crap in George Lucas's mind. So Ramblecast is not all about that.
Is it my turn?
Yeah. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, I agree with Chris. Lord of the Rings is just way too fucking long. I mean, I fell asleep in the second one. Literally fell asleep.
You never finished the second one, if I recall.
I finished the ending, but I fell asleep for like at least a good 45 minutes, and I still I still was able to see 5 hours of the movie. It's just too fucking long. It just be cut. You don't have to. The movie doesn't have to be that long to be great.
Yeah.
I mean, if you notice, some movies are long. Like Nick and I, we talked before about The Right Stuff. It's a long movie, but you don't notice it because it's a great movie.
Yeah,
Lord of the Rings, you notice it's long because it's not really a great movie. It's just people got, this is great, fantastic.
They did break it up.
Let's see. And then you have Back to the Future. I don't know. You have Biff is basically attempting to rape and attack Lorraine, yet he's in the next 2. What is that? What kind of message is that sending to?
But they're different versions of Biff.
Yeah, different versions of Biff. It's still, he shouldn't have been in. They got rid of Christian Glover. What?
He volunteered.
And they brought in Crispin Glover in his replacement.
Whatever his name is. And then, but I forgot.
Speaking of, I watched Hot Tub Time Machine last night, and he was fucking fantastic in that movie. Do you guys remember that movie, Hot Tub Time Machine?
I remember it. I've only watched it once.
I do remember it.
Oh, dude, watch it again. That movie holds up. It's hilarious.
Scott's here, and it's Scott's birthday.
Hey, happy birthday, guys.
And he's a huge Bear fan, and the Bears went out and gave him a birthday present. They signed Andy Dalton as their quarterback for this season. Happy birthday to God.
Meanwhile, in New England, the Patriots spend $250 million on rebuilding their team.
And they still don't have a quarterback.
I know. But we got Cam Newton. We signed him.
Yeah.
You think the Pats are going to be like the Bulls after the 98 season, like just 23 years of shit?
Yep. Hopefully not.
Well, they did. They do have some great tight ends.
Anyways, Jack, I'm sorry. You're still
Star Wars. Whatever. That's just a bullshit pick because there's like 20 different Star Wars movies. I'm sorry. At least the Godfather.
I'll interrupt you, Matt style. Let you know that God just says at least the team kept the team in Chicago.
And to be fair, because nobody else wants him.
Holy shit, that's so good.
Hey, they won a Super Bowl, but they still have never had a great quarterback in my lifetime, and I'm fucking old. Never.
I mean, Jack's not wrong, but at least the team's still in Chicago.
But are they? Are they? You go out and you sign Andy Dalton. Come on.
Oh man, yeah,
Jack, are you done ranting about everybody else's picks?
Yeah, I'm done.
You're just sad that you didn't pick Toy Story.
We talked about. I wouldn't have picked Toy Story.
You'd have won.
We talked about, didn't we, the Back to the Future theory about the beginning of the film? Because I always love like how many people read into Back to the Future about in the very beginning of the film when they're all watching TV and Lorraine is like remembering, where I fell in love with your father and all stuff again, and she keeps asking him about it, but they're all very like melancholy in this scene, and then the dad, yeah, I think she's on pills or something. But then the dad, every time she's asking something like, "Hey, you remember this? Remember this?" He just kind of goes, "What, Lorraine? What?" And then like goes back to watching TV and just starts laughing. And it's because he's purposely ignoring her because that's the theory is that without Marty, what Biff was doing to Lorraine in the 50s really happened. And so they're both blocking out the negativity of that, of what the repercussions of that. And that's why Biff is still the bully he is in the first part of the film.
So
in the 80s.
So the oldest son is really Biff's.
Could be. You don't know. That's true.
Wow.
I don't know his name, but
that's awesome.
Son. Yeah. It's just things that you don't think about, until you're like, wow, that makes total sense.
Jack would just go back and fix all of the mistakes of the San Diego Chargers. He'd be like jumping in at just the right moment.
Don't you mean the LA Chargers, right?
The mistake of the San Diego Chargers was having a shitty fucking owner. The city didn't lose anything. It was the owner. It's fact. The owner was shitty. I mean, what are you gonna do? He has no money. It's like you look at the Raiders right now. They're literally trading all the way their expensive guys because they have no. Mark Davis is a billionaire on paper, but he's not even a millionaire in real life. He has no money, and that's the same thing with the Spanos family. They're only billionaires because the team is worth billions of dollars, not that they have the money, and that's why they're dumping their players.
That's a lot of people.
Thanks, Randy, for pointing out who Biff really is. Before this show goes on any much further,
it's time for a commercial break.
No, I was actually going to try to wind up because then we.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Trying to keep
really.
it.
I'm not sorry.
Well, if we go on any much longer, it's gonna. Be too long, but we'll move things over, I guess, to a short bonus show in the Patron section. But as we
think about it, Chris, now.
Oh, hey, we did have an email. Did you guys see that? It came in at the very last second here. It comes in from Maggie.
Oh, I thought it was going to come from a certain young lady.
Oh, no, it says San Diego State.
No,
Jack,
the mother of Chris's child.
You guys are fucking unbelievable. You're fucking relentless. I mean, I give you credit. The legs on this joke just keep getting longer. And
well, how long are your son's legs?
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Yeah, I'll tell
he's
you.
25 now, right? So,
does he wear blue jeans? Because man, I haven't gotten enough of that.
I just want because, like I said, he's probably 25 now. So I just want to hear this accent coming. Like, hey, is my father over there? Fuck you, Dad. Never knew you.
The fuck you doing?
Here's your Boston cream. Fucking asshole.
All right. I'm going to read Maggie's email.
Fuck you and the Kennedys.
Yes. Anyway.
All right. It says San Diego State. Jack, because only San Diego people care. I just picked San Diego State to win March Madness in one of my 2 brackets. Crazy, I know, but I had to do it. I've picked teams based on names since I was a kid. I like to pick the better or more fun-sounding name where the college or state has to mean something to me. I won a few years ago by picking Villanova the year they won. Also, hi, Nick, Matt, and Chris. Hope you are all well. Maggie. Well,
San Diego State could have won last year. They had probably one of the best teams in the nation, but I guess we had a virus that shut everything down. So
good luck, Maggie, on your pick.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to win the national. I did pick them because the hell. They should be able to go at least to the Sweet 16, but it depends on, if they're outside shooters shoot like they did all season, they should beat Syracuse, who I think is Dennis's team, but Dennis doesn't listen to us anymore, right? So
no, Dennis listens. Why are you shitting on Dennis? And
I'm just saying, I don't know if he listens anymore.
And if you have any inside shooters, maybe you'll be like Chris and get an AOL love child of your own. Send us an email at rcadcast@gmail.com.
That's RCAD
at Gmail.
Gmail.com.
I'm just fucking it up.
Having my baby. A lovely way of saying how much I love you.
Yeah, did y'all see? Because I doubt you did, but like the SEC tournament's on. What has been on, and Florida was playing Tennessee. I mean, because you're talking about like roughing, guy from Florida double elbowed one of our players, and guy's out for like the entire tournament.
Double elbow, does that like mean you run it something like this?
Well, so they're going up for the ball, and the first one you could have maybe dismissed as like accidental contact, but then the guy turns and just like deliberately like elbow to the face, and just like fuck.
So he's out for the tournament.
Yeah, the guy who threw the elbows is out for the tournament, but the other guys too, from like because he got a concussion and then just hitting the floor so hard from getting smacked.
Rub some dirt on it.
Everything just sounds painful to me right now. So
he probably picked the Lords of the Rings trilogy too.
All right, so do you have a plan to list or?
I do. I'm gonna put them up here, and
you've had 2 good weeks in a row.
Chris, you're going to read them off. Okay.
My best dramatic reading.
Okay. So for anybody that wants to, you can go over to jayandjack.com, become a patron.
Thanks for the email, Maggie.
Click on the Patron link. Help us out by rating and review us on iTunes. And at this point, we'd like to thank, everybody in the chat for joining us live. Yes. We always appreciate that. A lot of people showing up for St. Patty's Day.
Except for Gott.
Don't
his birthday. Now, don't shit on him his birthday.
Yeah, come on.
All right, I'm sorry. Fuck you, Gott.
All right,
I think he is 50, isn't he?
I don't think he's
50 not 50.
Yet.
You know what?
I follow him on Facebook. He sure looks 50.
I must be fucking blind because these guys just can't fucking hear me at all. Like, I mean,
are you talking, Matt?
Yeah, I'm trying to finish this. I'm sorry.
Show. Okay, so you got the names. So
I do.
Along with all the patrons and all the people in the chat, there are some special patrons we'd like to thank because of how much they do contribute to make sure that this show happens. And every week, Matt takes his chances and opportunity to explore his creativity by coming up with crazy names that he thinks are funny in his head, but oftentimes don't fucking deliver. And without further ado,
there better be one name for you. There better be one name that says blank commercial break.
Let's go.
That'd be a good one. So,
beam me up, Tack. Is this from last week?
We didn't even talk about Star Trek.
No, because it was the UFO experience that I had.
I could have said that trilogy.
And the next one is Outer Richter Eckhart Experience.
Because we were talking about psychedelics, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Stay with me here.
And the next one here is Ed didn't get the IG message.
Instagram message because you guys were
okay.
Maybe these are.
This is what we call stretching a little bit. We're stretching.
I liked this one though.
Microdose Maggie.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Joanne just reads the Ringo books.
And last.
And the greatest trilogy is...
Gregor.
Oh, the Gregist.
Gregist.
The Gregist trilogy is... Well, as the guy who read your names this week, I'm going to go ahead and say I don't think I want to read them next week.
Well, thanks. Thanks for playing along. Go get God's collarbone, pull it out of the sky, make a wish. Thanks for joining us. This was a great show. It's one and a Greg. May you have the luck of the Irish.